right, so today we're going to dive into a character from Andor. And she might seem like a minor figure at first, but I think as we get ready for Season 2, especially understanding characters like this can help us really appreciate just how complex the rebellion really is.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Kleya Marki.
Oh, yeah. Kleya Marki, when we first meet her, it's 5 BBY, and she's working at Luthen Rael's gallery on Coruscant. And on the surface, you know, she's just a concierge. She's helping customers. She's, you know, dealing with valuable artifacts. But it's a very sophisticated setting.
Yeah, she very much gives off that air of someone who knows more than she's letting on.
Right, exactly.
And we even see that in her first appearance, which is when Mon Mothma comes into the gallery to find a gift for her husband. And it's for his Day of Days, which is like a Chandrilan tradition. And immediately Kleya's very attentive. She notices Mothma. She points out that Mothma has a new driver who is not Chandrilan.
Right.
And they just makes you wonder, what else is she picking up on?
Exactly. It's more than just, you know, customer service. I mean, she's very good at her job, but she's clearly observing everything. And then when she engages the driver, Cloris, and suggests that he look at the ancient coins the gallery has, it seems like just a polite gesture, you know? May I show you something? And he says, oh, don't bother. I couldn't afford anything here.
Right.
But she insists politely, please, there's no harm in looking.
Yeah. And, you know, later on, we realized that that was actually very important because it was a distraction.
It was a crucial distraction.
So that Mothma and Rael could have their secret meeting. And she even takes the wrapped gift that Mothma is giving to the counter after Mothma leaves.
Right. She's involved in that exchange.
Yeah. So it really is a display not just of efficiency, but also complicity.
Absolutely.
It makes you wonder, how much does she know? What is her real role here?
Yeah, and later we see kind of a different side of her. After the Aldhani mission, when she meets with Vel Sartha, and she, you know, acknowledges the mission was a success, but there were losses, and we find out that Kleya actually recruited Taramyn Barkona for that mission.
Oh, wow. Okay, so she's got her hands in a lot of different things.
Yeah, she's very involved.
Yeah.
And she warns Vel about communicating with Sintakaz.
Right.
Really highlighting the importance of operational security.
You gotta stay on top of that stuff.
Absolutely. And then she gives Vel a very significant instruction.
Okay.
Which is to track down and eliminate Cassian Andor.
Wow. Okay.
Because he knows about Luthen.
That's a pretty big deal. And Vel's even hesitant to take that order.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And it really highlights the gravity of the situation and the danger.
Yeah. You see a totally different side of Kleya there.
Yes, absolutely. A much colder side.
Yeah, than you saw in the gallery with the, you know, can I interest you in some coins?
Exactly. It's this ruthlessness that comes out when the security of the rebellion is at stake.
Right. And all of this really points to how the sources describe her as a true master of disguise, because she seamlessly transitions from the unassuming concierge to this, you know, stone cold operative. And she's called an emissary, a messenger, an enforcer.
And it's interesting because she has this highly attenuated intuition, but it's coupled with this unflinching commitment to the rebel cause, so it makes her a very effective player, even if people underestimate her.
Right, and you even see that reflected in her appearance. When she's with Mothma, she's in a very professional-looking outfit.
Yeah.
You know, but later, when she's with Vel, she's almost unrecognizable. She's got this, like, dark red hooded gown.
Yeah. Very different look.
Yeah, very different look.
And for those of you listening who maybe haven't, you know, committed her face to memory, Kleya Marki is played by Elizabeth Dulau.
Yes.
And she first shows up in episode 4 of Andor season 1, which is titled Aldhani.
Appropriately titled.
Yes. So, you know, don't just think of Kleya as someone who's in the background at Luthen's gallery.
This is someone who's very observant, who's subtly influential, and who, you know, as we said, has a ruthlessness to her when it's necessary.
Absolutely.
And as we look ahead to season 2, it really raises the question of, you know, what is driving her? What are her motivations? What secrets is she hiding? And how far will her dedication to the rebellion take her?
Yeah.
She definitely seems like a character with a lot more to reveal.
I agree. She's a fascinating character.
All right, well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next time.
See you next time.